Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. This is Allie the Creator back once again, and today we are working on a Halloween build. It's the first one of the year, so I'm super excited and I was really looking forward to being able to build this, so much so that I actually started building the house before I started recording. So thankfully I had only done the exterior of the house, so I was able to go back and kind of build the exact same thing over again. So it really worked out. But this definitely turned out to be an interesting build. I built this in whatever the vampire world is. I don't remember all the names of the worlds ever, but I think it was like you know what I mean, the vampire world. That's where I built this. Anyway, so it turned out really nicely, and I really like the build, and I like the way that the house turned out. The lighting on the second story, I had a little bit of trouble with it, but I do figure it out in the end. I think that just having all of the roofs or something must have intercepted somewhere. It was kind of funny. But anyway, this turned out to be like a really good build. I thought it was kind of like a simple home, and it was built more for somebody who like just loves Halloween. So maybe because they live here all year, this is how like they keep their Halloween home all the time. So I did go for a darker theme inside and out. I made all of the walls just kind of like darker grays and blacks. But I'm just figuring out the exterior layout of the house and picking out the exterior brick, which I believe I changed it from this one. I do really like this brick though. But I just kind of wanted something more simple that didn't like pop out of the house so much, just something that was like kind of inconspicuous. I think this home comes up to be about $56,000 or simoleons, I guess I should say, but it's kind of like a smaller home, so it works out. It's definitely built for 1 or 2 sims. Like I kind of imagined it for maybe just like one sim who's like either a vampire or a spellcaster, but I thought it was kind of like nice, just kind of a decent sized home. But so we're just moving on to the inside of the house, and I am going to be figuring out the layout. I wanted to make sure that the upstairs, the way that the stairs were coming up, was like a good space, so that way there was still lots of space to be able to like move around and add a bed and everything upstairs. So the downstairs layout is a little funky. There is only one bathroom, and it is right by the front door, but I think that it's fine because the house is smaller, so it's not that far for the sim to have to walk to be able to go to the bathroom like in the morning. But it does work out. I added a set of French doors to go into the living space, and I was actually going to make that back room that's right before you go to the outside. I was going to be making that the dining room. Like I wanted to have a formal dining room, but it made more sense to make it an office, so I do that later on. But I'm just doing picking out the wallpapers for all the house. Like I said, I wanted kind of like a darker exterior, so I am just picking out like darker tones. I picked a black and gray to go in for the living room, and just a black and white wall for the kitchen. And then I think I picked a metal or stone area for the office space. But yeah, I just closed off the stairs instead of having a railing because I thought sometimes that looks nice. But the little room right by the front is the bathroom. And I don't use this front door very often, but I thought it kind of perfectly fits for this build because it has like the huge knocker on the front of it. I think it's one of the 2 cursed doors. So like you have that old story where you walk up to the doors and one of them tells you the truth and one tells you a lie, and you have to figure out which is which. So I thought that was kind of funny. So I picked just one of them because obviously they look the same, but I thought that was kind of cool. So I'm just picking out the outdoor like shrubbery and stuff, the trees. I'm sorry if you can hear my cat. It's very early in the morning where we are, so she's excited to be up right now. But we're just going through the debug menu and picking out some more landscaping things for the backyard because I kind of wanted to have like lots of shrubbery and stuff out here that kind of fits in the world. But I thought that this house like would definitely have like a lot of shrubbery to like be able to put ghosts and stuff in, like little pop-up ghosts. And I did pull out a few tombstones because like I said, this is a Halloween build, so I wanted it to be like a little mystical and dark. Like maybe you have all these tombstones around your house and you don't know who's in there. So I'm just picking out some pumpkins now. I put quite a few pumpkins around the build. I sized quite a few of them up also, and I'm pretty sure I used a few pumpkins that are from Cottage Living because you can get like the ones that are like fallen on their sides and stuff. So I thought those were really cool. But yeah, I'm just picking out all the pumpkin decorations that I want so I can furnish the outside. And here I am just using some from Cottage Living. I did these more for the aesthetic because these pumpkins will go bad over time, obviously. But I thought they still look really nice. So you can keep switching them out if you'd like, or get the pumpkin carving station. But I didn't put it into the build. I just thought it was kind of like a nice touch to be able to have in there. But I am picking out a bit more landscaping to be able to just kind of fill things up the way that I want. I tried to pick a few like kind of scary looking pumpkins, or like the one that's like throwing up and then the angry face one, because I thought that was kind of funny and it kind of suits the build, like especially building in this this town, because it's kind of like darker and people just want to keep to themselves kind of thing. So I thought maybe it made sense to have those there. But yeah, I am just working on the interior of the build now. We're moving into there. So I am just picking out a few different things to go around maybe the outside and switching out some windows. I put up this gargoyle on the top. I don't think I've ever used him before, but I kind of wanted to use it in the build again just to kind of give like the scarier factor. But we are moving on to the kitchen now. I did pick kind of expensive things for the inside, but I thought just the aesthetic that you get from it, because it's the plain paneling and the darker wood tones, I thought it kind of just fits with the house. But yeah, I'm just picking out the fridge and the stove. I went for some like kind of older looking things because I thought those kind of fit. And I just put the seating in the kitchen just on the one side because there wasn't any space, but we're just moving on to the bathroom right now. It just kind of skipped a little bit there, but that was my mistake when I was recording. I got a notification and I accidentally clicked on it. But yeah, I'm just picking out the shower that I want. I didn't want to have like the gold features in the bathroom because I thought that was kind of nice. And I picked out a black toilet, which I kind of do every now and then, but I think they're kind of cool. I think that I switch this sink later on, or maybe I do end up keeping that. I don't use that sink very often, and honestly, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's one of the few things that I don't really like from the Eco Lifestyle pack, but I think that in this build it kind of works. I'm not a huge fan of the blue that's in there, but there aren't too many bathroom sinks that look like minimalistic and still look nice. There's not very many of them. But yeah, I'm just kind of trying to decide now if I want to do the dining room in the far room or if I want to do it in the kitchen. And I did decide to do it in the kitchen, like I said. I just didn't think there would be enough space in the far room. And also I have all these like extra space that's in the kitchen. So I thought that it makes sense to just kind of fill that up and put like seating and a table in here. So I did pick a table that has a blue tablecloth. So there is a little bit of a pop of color, which I really like. So I think that works really well. And these chairs that I picked, I do also really like. They're from, they're one of the extra content that was added from Hey Harry, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I really like them and I think they turn out nicely. I pulled out this old bathtub from Strangerville. I've only used that a handful of times also, but again, it's one of those things, like this build kind of has just like all those quirky things that I don't use very often, but they kind of fit in here. But now we're moving on to the living room. So I'm just pulling out the fireplace that I want to use. And I do pull out a black couch also, which, as I'm sure you've heard me say before, is my favorite couch. I absolutely love using it. So I did try to use it in this build, and I'm just extending the one wall so it comes behind the couch a little bit so it doesn't look as awkward. And I add a small little TV on this TV stand right here, and a gaming system, and I'm pretty sure I add a bookshelf in the little corner that's over there because these little bookshelves that are from Tiny Living are the perfect size for like a one-tile bookcase. I don't think we have like any other one-tile bookcases. I'm pretty sure this is the only one, but it turns out really well, and I really like it because you can add like little features into that bookcase, and I think that it's adorable. So, but I'm just going through and picking out the different things that I want to put into the corner. I couldn't really decide what I wanted to put in here. But so I did go into the Realm of Magic pack, and I pulled out the, I think that's the Apothecary feature, and I used the old typewriter from Cottage Living, which I haven't used yet, but I think that it really fits in here as kind of like an older feature in the home. So like I said, I tried to figure out some older things, but I thought it was like kind of nice. I might try and use that in a few more builds, or like try and do some like old-timey home builds, because I think it's like a really nice feature, and it's, as much as the detail isn't really there in the home, but I think it's really sweet, and I think it was like a really nice thing that they added because it does look older. But here I am just picking out a few more things that I wanted to put up in the house. So I picked out a rocking chair for this far corner, and I did pick a lighter colored one just to put in a little bit more color in there. And I pulled out a guitar and the nifty knitting bag. Like I said, I just wanted to put in like a few more like skill building things. And I was really considering changing the fireplace, but I ended up just leaving it as the one that it is. But I did pull out a wreath for the front window, and I believe we're going to be moving on to the upstairs soon after I pull out a few more things, because I just wanted to clutter up the walls and add a few more things in there, because it just didn't seem like, I really like having the black and white walls, but sometimes it seems like they're just so bare and there's nothing going on. So I'm just going through the wall decor to add a few more extra things. Later on, I do end up adding like cobwebs and spiders all throughout the house, because I realized that I wanted this to be like a really Halloween-y build, and I didn't really have those kinds of things around yet. So I do add those later on. But I'm just pulling out a pumpkin and I think a few other decoration things just to add some more Halloween-y things around the house. Yeah, and so I put the hand in the bookshelf, which is one of the reasons, like I said, why I love this bookshelf, because you're able to add all those like different decor items and they just like clip right into there. So I really like the glass paneling that's on the front of it. I just think it's like a really nice gesture. I think that I may change that picture frame later on, but I have been adding the tragic clown into a few of my builds. I'm in the middle of a gameplay right now, and I actually put the build into, or I put the painting into the build that I made for the girl that I'm playing with, and I think that it turns out like kind of nicely, because she ended up befriending this clown, which is really funny. But yeah, I just deleted it there because I decided to add all this old artwork, because I really wanted to kind of have like the aesthetic that this house has like been here for a while and it's just been like modernized a little bit. So they have all these like old art pieces that they added on. But yeah, I'm just pulling out a few more art pieces and a few more wall decor to add around the house. And I believe I start working on the backyard soon. So the backyard's very small. There's not too much added in it. I added a few gardening things and a few shrubs and I think a fire pit. I did also add these leaf piles because I think that's a really nice activity that your sim can play with, and they can like be able to play in there. And if they're big enough, they can woohoo in them, and they're just like, it's kind of like a nice aspect of gameplay. So I thought it kind of fits here. But I picked out this modern fire pit and I added a garbage can back there, and I'm just pulling out the mailbox that I wanted just before I forget, because the garbage can and the mailbox are probably the two things that I forget the most, which I'm sure drives people insane, and I feel so bad, but everybody forgets something sometimes. So I'm just pulling out a few more pumpkins, and I'm just moving around different things to make everything fit in the backyard a little bit better. And I found these little ghosts that like glow in the dark, and they are so adorable. So I ended up adding those and some tombstones just kind of just to give a little bit more life and add a little bit of light, because this is like kind of a darker build and it is in like a darker like world that's in the game. So I wanted it to like have a lot of light features in there. But yeah, I'm just kind of picking out the cobwebs and things like that to add a little, like a few more features around here. And I'm just kind of going through the Spooky Day pack, which was probably one of my favorite packs that we got. I actually really like it, and I like a lot of the things that came with it, because I love doing Halloween builds and I love doing like the holiday builds just in general. So yeah, I really like the stuff that came with it. But yeah, I'm just adding some pumpkins and things like that inside the house just to have a few more features. And I added that hutch by the front door and an umbrella stand, because like I've said in a few other videos, I really enjoy like putting in an umbrella stand so you don't have to go and steal somebody's umbrella from their house. But yeah, I'm just moving on to the upstairs. Like I said, the lighting upstairs was really weird for some reason, but I think I ended up figuring it out. I'm using this bed from Realm of Magic, which I've only used a handful of times, and I also use these nightstands from the Spooky Day pack. I just kind of picked a few like older looking things for this build, but I think that they kind of work together really nicely. The windows that I used in this build also are really beautiful, and I really like the touches that are at the top that kind of just like add a few, like a little bit of extra character. But yeah, I'm just pulling out like some darker pieces, and I pulled out a black rug. Even though you can hardly see it, I thought the gesture is nice, and I wanted to pick out some candles and stuff for the nightstands. And here we are just picking out a few more candles to just put around like a different space in the house. I think I end up raising up a candle and putting it on the like bottom part of that lamp, which I do quite often actually. So I also pulled out a few skulls to just put along the dresser, and this spooky ghost, which is I guess what I put on that lamp, but I thought that that turned out really nicely. And I'm just adding a few more Halloween features around the build before we kind of wrap this up, just a few more extra things. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that everyone enjoyed this build, and if you have any comments or suggestions, please let me know in the comment box down below. If you could also like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to make more Halloween builds. I think that these are always like really fun little quirky things to do, and they just turn out really nicely. But we are just coming towards the end of the build. I'm just adding a few extra things that I've forgotten, and then we'll be working on landscaping, and then that's about it. Another thing that I do seem to forget quite often is the garbage can in the kitchen. Just garbage cans and mailboxes. They seem to get me. But yeah, we're just doing a landscaping around the house to kind of darken everything up. And I add a little bit of stone around the back door, I believe. And we just want to kind of lighten everything and make it all look used. But that's about it. And yeah, I hope everybody really enjoyed. So let me know what you think down below. Bye.